This is a 100,000 mile review on my Generation 13 Ford F-150. When I first got the truck, I did not do a review because there were so many reviews out there. I figured at this point the truck is a 2020, it's 3 years old, it's got 100,000 miles on it, and it might be useful information to the used truck market. Also, there's fewer reviews at this point on this truck in this mileage range. As you can see in the lower left-hand corner of the display, I'm a little late to the party on 100,000 miles. We're at 122,673. My truck is a 2020. The Generation 13 F-150s go from 2015 to 2020. This was obviously the last year model in that generation. That Generation 13 in this configuration with a 2.7 liter Ecoboost is split into, at 2017, they put the Generation 2 2.7 liter Ecoboost in, and the main difference from what I understand is the original only had gas direct injection, caused some valve issues, so they put traditional injection in to wash those valves, so you've got actually two injection systems. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's generally what the difference is. So this generation of 2.7 liter Ecoboost should be a little bit more reliable. So this truck, I have not detailed it. You're going to see the normal soil and dust and dirt. This is a daily driver. I use it to commute. I purchased it to commute back and forth to work. It's our grocery getter, trip truck, whole 9 yards. We do a lot with this truck. I put about 40,000 miles a year on this vehicle. I am in construction. While I don't use it as a construction vehicle, it does get used every day. It drives on job sites. I live on a dirt road, so it's kind of dusty, but it is. I'd rather show you what it is than a fully detailed truck that isn't realistic. So the configuration of this truck, as stated before, this is a Gen 13 with the Generation 2 2.7 liter Ecoboost. It's two-wheel drive. It has the super cab and the short bed, so it's 5.6 feet long in the rear. And it is the STX. I won't go over the STX package. I'll do that in a separate video. In purchasing this vehicle, it was on a recommendation from my boss, who had several earlier generation Ford F-150s. He had the Generation 12 with the 2.7 liter Ecoboost in there. He recommended the same motor unless I was hauling large stuff. I don't really trailer too much with this. I'll usually use a utility trailer, maybe haul a side-by-side on the back. It's probably the most hauling I'll do with this. When I originally purchased it, I was riding dirt bikes, so that would go in the back. But other than that, it doesn't haul a whole lot of stuff. One of the first things I wanted to put into this review was warranty. Everybody worries about that. There's horror stories about Ecoboost engines and this failure and that failure. My experience is I would pretty much put all of that aside, do what you can to maintain it. I maintain this thing with every 5,000 mile oil changes. Do your maintenance, and I think you'll have no problems. The only issue I had was and if you want to call it an issue, was the reverse camera. Within a couple of months of ownership, there was a recall on the backup camera, which was kind of fuzzing out every once in a while. It was at the height of supply chain issues. It took about 3 or 4 months to get it in and get it installed. So free of charge, no worries or issues, and I haven't had a problem since. But other than that, all the things that you hear about that I read when I was doing my research were non-existent. There's no reason to put a catch can in there. All the things, the mods that you talk about will probably cause you more problems. Maintain the truck and I think you'll have zero issues. So as far as warranty issues, pretty much zero. So let's pop the hood and take a look at this 2.7 liter Ecoboost. The Generation 2 Ecoboost makes 325 horsepower, 400 foot-pounds of torque. It's a 10-speed auto, and I get about 20 miles to the gallon, 19 to 21 miles to the gallon in mixed driving. So my commute is surface streets, secondary highways, and interstate, and then back down the same way to whatever particular job site I may be on. As stated before, the Gen 2 Ecoboost is got a better injection system, more reliable injection system, but pretty much your typical engine compartment layout. There is no beauty cover, at least on the STX versions. Your air filter, I have a video on how to change that out. Your battery, I have a video on how to change that out. Your windshield washer fluid, I mean, it's pretty much the general American manufacturer type engine compartment layout. Maintenance on this truck, I change the oil every 5,000 miles. In the winter, I live in Arizona near Phoenix. Our summertime temperatures can range from 110 to 115 or higher. Puts a lot of stress on the motor, so during that period, probably about 4 months or 5 months, I change the oil every 5,000 miles. And really about half the year, I change it about every 5,000 miles. During the winter, I'm probably at the 7,500 mile mark. So the balance of the year, I'm changing it every 7,500 miles. And that goes by pretty quickly when you put 40,000 miles a year on. So as far as the air filter and the cabin air filter go, I change those out every other oil change. So about every 10,000 miles, I'll swap them out. Even in the dusty conditions that I'm in, I live on a dirt road and I work on a construction site. Even in those dusty conditions, the engine air filter is still probably in that maybe only 20% used state. I mean, they've been fairly clean, but it's probably the cheapest engine overhaul you'll have is to make sure your filters and oils and stuff like that are changed. As far as the cabin air filter, I do at the same time. That gets pretty crusty. I could probably do that a little bit more often. I'm going to show you where the cabin air filter is. I also have a video on how to change that out. Your cabin air filter is behind your glove box. You open up the glove box, you drop it down, you unscrew it, you drop it down to the floor. There is a panel in front of the filter. You pop that off, you slide the filter out, put the new one in. After you've done it once, it probably takes you about 10 minutes. I do have a video on how to install the cabin air filter if you really want to see how that's done. As far as tires go, the truck comes stock with Michelin Defender LTX mud and snow all season tires. I like them. I've run them on a lot of my trucks. I run them on my 3/4 ton pickup. They wear really well. I get about 75,000 miles on them, and this is a replacement set. Doing well. They wear well. Just rotate them, and they'll do a good job for you. Like I said, this truck mostly has commuter duty, and simple, effective, and cost-effective tires are the name of the game there. I could get cheaper tires. I could get probably better looking tires, but for the cost, the life of the tire, and pretty much they look all right on the truck as far as I'm concerned. They're the best value. As far as the battery goes, I replaced it myself, as I stated before. I got about a year out of the first one. Phoenix high temperatures, and depends on where you live. High temperatures, cold temperatures do eat up batteries. Batteries here last anywhere from a year to 2 years. This one in particular is probably on 2 years, so I'm probably getting ready to replace it again. But like I said, at the high temperatures and amount of mileage I put on every year, I eat them up pretty quickly. As far as ride and handling goes, for a pickup truck, it has a pretty tight steering and firm suspension. Very comfortable on a long trip. It's a pleasure to drive. While hauling stuff, you don't get a whole lot of squat as long as you don't go overweight. Hauling stuff with a trailer does great that way. It just rides really well, handles really well. There's actually a sport mode. There's a few modes on the on the column that you can go eco mode, rain mode. It's pretty much typical for most cars. But if you want to get sporty, I guess, with a pickup truck, that sport mode does give you a lot more pedal response. But just the standard driving mode gives you a good, comfortable shift pattern, and for trips or commuting or whatever, just really gives you a good all-around driving experience. As far as the interior goes, I have not had any issues. I got the pretty plain Jane interior. There's no leather seats or anything like that. These are probably somewhere one up from the base fabric. There's no rips or tears. The doors are pretty plain Jane. They got, you know, soft touch surfaces. It's kind of plasticky, but as far as this, between this and the XLT, it's pretty much the same interior. No issues with anything breaking on the dashboard. Everything works as it should. I've got the console in mind that usually comes with some of the upper level pickups. That console works great. Nothing's broken. Plenty of storage in there. As far as the dash layout, it's pretty convenient and easy to see. Dash readout is pretty well laid out. All of your gauges are on top, and your speedometer, digital speedometer layout in the middle. All works great. Your idiot lights, your usually idiot lights, are in there. And there are some different information. You can set that up pretty much any way you want. Trip modes, let's see, compass, things like that. Back to the display mode, you got your TPS monitoring. Pretty easy to navigate. The center dash works really well. Pretty easy to get to while you're driving. You've got all your controls here. You've got your got all your cruise control settings over here, and your radio and phone settings over here. But you've also got them duplicated. Your radio settings duplicated over here, and you've got touchscreen options also. It's Android, what is it? Android Auto, and it's kind of clunky, but they also have Apple CarPlay. If you've got an Apple phone, I hear that works a lot better. But it's your standard fare of in-dash communication, and works pretty well. But like I said, there's plenty of little storage compartments, things like that. I don't have the top of the line truck, so I don't have all the little things, but everything works pretty well. Everything stayed pretty clean. I'm not a, this truck is not a museum piece, but it stays relatively clean anyway, let's put it that way. So in the Super Cab, you got a generous back door. You could probably put, if you flip the seats up, both of these seats flip up, and that one stock does come forward, and you can get behind there. There's a funnel for your gas, in case you have to put gas in there. It's got one of those funky new gas ports, but there's plenty of room back here, plenty of room for over 6-footers to sit back here, even with both seats all the way back. As I just talked about, it has the new type fuel door. You can't really put a gas can in there, so there's a funnel supplied to you. It's in the back seat. As I stated before, I've got the short 5.6-foot bed. Worked out all right for me for my uses. Here's your reverse camera, and there's the bed. It came with a liner from the dealership. I'll go over some of the modifications later, but it does lay out pretty well. It's got a pretty decently solid tailgate on it. So these are the standard mirrors. They come with pretty much every package. I think they just got different coatings on them, or shell covers, chrome or painted or whatever. Unless you get an upgraded larger mirror. These things work great. There's no real blind spots in them, and there's also a convex mirror in the upper right hand corner. The Gen 13, if I'm not mistaken, is the first generation with an all aluminum body. I was a little concerned about that. Seems to work out well. From what I understand, it's a little bit more costly if you have a fender bender or something like that. However, it's worked out really well for me. The paint on it still is in great shape, except for the front, but that's just conditions of driving in Arizona, and I'll show you that in a second. But it's still very brilliant. It's shiny. It has not dulled or faded or anything like that. It's white, but you don't see that rough sheen or whatever. The shine has not dulled at all. So really the only, I can't call it an imperfection, it's just a condition of driving in Phoenix, is you'll see a lot of these rock chips. It did chip up pretty good, but we have a lot of sand, especially after a storm. You get small rocks and they come up and they just destroy the front of your vehicle. A lot of this too is all the million bugs that I murdered going down the road, but I probably would say about 50 to 60% of the marks that you see on the front of the truck are rock chips, and they're small. You don't really, 10 feet away you don't really see them, but when you get pretty close, as you are, you can see them. The headlights, there's no other description, as they suck. The stock halogen headlights, if you're on a well-lit street, they're pretty good, but if you live like where I do, there's no street lights. They are very poor. Low beams are very poor. High beams are mildly better. I've hemmed and hawed about getting either a whole new headlight module or a LED bulb, something like that, to enhance things. I've even thought about putting in a light bar, but I'll wait till they burn out, I guess, and I'll probably have 250,000 miles on it by then. So I guess you can live with them, but I would suggest putting in some brighter bulbs for your headlights. One additional note on the headlights: they are, most models, I believe, if this model came with it, they probably all do, is auto dimming headlights, and they turn on and turn off, high beam, low beam themselves. It works out pretty good. Sometimes it gets a little funky if there's a lot of traffic coming at you and you're on a dark road, but I think it's all right. I don't think I would pay to get it, but I think most of these F-150s come with those. I'm just going to go handheld here and show you some of the modifications that I've done. This is a aftermarket decal that I stuck on there. It was pretty easy, and they're pretty ubiquitous. They're about 50 bucks or so. I did put that rubber spray coat, what is it, Plasti Dip, on the F-150 badges. And obviously there's a little American flag down below there. And one really good feature that I did, let me go to the other side of the truck and see it a little bit better. Running boards, I got them off of Amazon, and I think they're about 200 bucks. They install pretty easily, and I wouldn't probably go with any super expensive set. They do get knocked and dinged up a little bit, and 200 bucks, they've lasted 120,000 miles, so they've really done well. I would suggest getting these step bumpers, especially if you got kids or a short wife or something like that. So on the interior, I went with the Husky mats. They are made in USA. I got these off of Amazon, and I think they were about 130 bucks or something like that for front and rear. So these front ones are form fitting. It's truck specific, and it's like the wintertime things. They'll hold water if your boots are snowy or muddy or whatever. They've done a good job with dust and stuff like that in my environment. They came with a rear. This one goes all the way across, same type of deal. It's form fitted, and really keeps the spilled drinks and mud and stuff like that contained and doesn't get on your carpet. One thing I do really like about this truck is, if you can see right there, there are air conditioning vents right in the back, and there's a power port and a USB port there. Something that you don't really see in nearly stock version trucks. So modifications to the bed, like I said, it came with a liner from the dealership. I put these bed rails on. This is another decal got off the internet. I think this one was $100, and then the F150, I think that was like $50. It's actually, F150 is actually like a emblem. It's thick plastic. Put it on, and it took me like 5 minutes to put it on there. Inside the bed, I put the Ford factory soft opens. I don't know if I would do that again. I do have the Ford tailgate extender or bed extender, whatever you want to call it. That's worked out pretty well, especially carrying some larger stuff with this super short bed. Also, I put these bed cleats on there. They kind of like lock in. I don't know if I would purchase those again. I got aftermarket ones. They were like $40 for the set of all four. I thought another tie-off point, and I can't stand having something that's like looks like a delete, because the panels are actually in there. And with my slight OCD, I got to put something in that panel, so I bought these. They don't really do much. They don't do a good job of having a tie down. They're too high for like tying down motorcycles or something like that. So here, this is a 60/40 fold down seat, and only the far side folds down. This side does not. However, if you look on the internet, they'll tell you how to do that, and there's a little kit that you can buy, and it's basically just this little strap here that pulls up on this latch and allows you to get back here and do some better storage. Also, I got the Ford under seat storage box. That's worked out pretty well, keeps stuff from sliding around. If you see underneath the front of the truck, I have removed, there's an air dam, a silly large air dam that almost touches the ground. It's only about two-wheel drive, it's only like an inch or so, 2 inches off the ground. Gets caught on everything. I removed that, it looks a lot better. Supposedly it helps with gas mileage. And pretty much that's all I've done for modifications, all the significant ones. And I'm pretty happy with everything that I've done. Pretty much that's all I had on my list of things I wanted to share with you. It's been a great truck. I would definitely buy one again. If you're looking in the used market for these, again, these are generational. They're down to generation 14 now. Haven't heard a terrible lot of good things about those. So watch someone else's video for that. But the Gen 13s have been a really strong truck. I'd buy another one in a second. These are on the used market now. If you can get a good low mileage version, just have it checked out by a mechanic. And I would not hesitate to recommend this truck. I've been very happy with it. If you have any questions that I have not, information that I have not shared with you, put them down in the comments. I'll either respond to the comments. I usually respond to every comment. If there's enough questions, I'll do a second video and update any information that I've left out. But I appreciate you watching. Thanks for watching. Please comment, subscribe, ding that bell so you get notified when I put up new videos. Like and share. Adios.